Hi, welcome to another episode of Look Ma No Hands. My name is Linda, and this is my channel where I talk about all things crochet, sometimes painting and art, what I've been reading, watching, basically anything that interests me. Sometimes I do a segment that I call Fancy Footwork, where I show how I do daily tasks using my feet since I was born without arms. And sometimes I put in details about life happenings, things going on behind the scenes. This is one of those weeks where there will be a little bit of discussion of exciting things going on in my life outside of the studio. So let's get started. I don't have a lot to talk about in the way of crochet. I've been a little bit dissatisfied with my finished projects. I've talked a little bit about the honor roll vest that I was working on. The last two iterations of it have been for myself, and I don't really like the fit of the finished product. I'm not sure if it's the pattern. The design is kind of intended for a younger figure. The proportions of it just don't seem to be quite right. So every time I make it, it either turns out to be bigger than I want, or when I make it so that it fits a little bit nicer in certain places, then it's too small in other places. So I think maybe I'm done with that pattern. It's just not fitting quite the way I want it to. So I don't know if it's me not checking my gauge, which that's something that I really need to start working on doing a little bit more if I want my finished pieces to fit properly. But I don't know. I guess it is what it is. This week, what I've been working on that is, I guess, a little bit more satisfying right now is a shawl that I'm making kind of my own pattern for. I'm using a stitch guide that I have, and I've decided to try and design my own thing using that stitch guide. I want to make something that's kind of lacy. I want to work on something to give my mom from the yarn that she picked out while we were on vacation. So before I dove right in and started using the yarn that she selected, I have some yarn here at home that kind of is the same weight as the yarn that she had picked out. So I'm practicing with that one, and then once I have my practice piece finished and kind of to the dimensions that I like, then I will pick up the yarn that she picked out and go from there. So yeah, it's the Lace Diamonds pattern. I'll share details of the book in the description box so that you can take a look at the stitch pattern and see what it is that I've been fiddling with, and I will definitely share some pictures of my work in progress, and hopefully by the next time I come on I will have a finished shawl to share with you, and the beginnings of the, I guess, good piece. I don't know how you want to say it, or the gifting piece for my mom. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. Reading this week, it's been a little bit light on the reading. I've finished a book called A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, and the author is Sangu Mandanna. I really liked this book. It was a lot of fun. If you're interested in like kind of fantasy stories where obviously the fact that it's magical innkeeping, the main character, Sarah, is a witch. Unfortunately, poor Sarah has been stripped of her magic. She cast a resurrection spell, and in this realm that is against all the rules. So when they found out that she had done that, they stripped her of her magic and sent her into exile. Before she completely lost access to her magic, she cast a protection spell over the inn that her great aunt lives in and has kind of bequeathed to her. She's now kind of the owner and proprietor of the inn. The protection spell that she cast kind of keeps bad people away, people that are kind of like undesirable. people that maybe are selfish or ill-to-do cannot find the inn, but people who are in a good deal of need for kind of like a safe haven find the inn kind of almost by magic, I guess you could say. Like, they're not really expecting the inn to be there, and then all of a sudden they're just at the front steps of this wonderful, like, mystical kind of lodging for them. This leads Sarah to have several very quirky characters staying with her at the inn. Once the characters kind of come into her little safe haven, they decide that they just don't want to leave. So temporary guests are kind of taking up residence at her little inn, and she's created herself quite a cute little family. As it's told in the story, like, her parents are kind of put off by her magic and her abilities, so that's how she comes to stay with her great aunt. And just all of the antics behind that. I really enjoyed this book enough that being it's the first in a series, I already have the second book in the series checked out, ready to be queued up and started. So yeah, I'm excited for the second book in the series. I will definitely be reading that and sharing all of my goings on with that book. It is a light romance. There was a little bit of romantic goings on for Sarah. It was just a very cute story. It just really was definitely my jam. So yeah, that's all I've been reading this week. What I've been watching is pretty much all of the same. Definitely staying up to date with my General Hospital. We've watched Will Trent, the new series R.J. Decker. I'm finding that I'm really starting to enjoy like shows about like murder mysteries and other crimes of that nature. So yeah, that's kind of a fun thing to explore. And I've been reading like whodunits, so this is kind of following along those lines. So that's been fun. Of course, we love our baking championship type of shows, baking competitions. So we've gotten into the Ultimate Baking Championship this season. I just love watching like the artistry of like what the bakers can do with the challenges that the show has set up for them. It's interesting to see like how they face the challenges when things don't go quite right, because as we know in life, not many things go as we plan them to. So it's just interesting to see how the bakers kind of handle those adversities and just how things pan out for them. So far, some of the people that have had the most catastrophic bakes live to tell another tale. So it's been kind of interesting to see like how they're selecting who moves on to the next round. But yeah, so far we kind of enjoy all of the contestants and all of the players that be. I really like the judges that they have on there. The criticisms and critiques that they're doing are very thoughtful, so that's always, good to hear. It's hard watching people, put their heart and soul into things and then get torn down, but these judges do a really good job of just being very tactful and constructive in their assessments of each bake, and they kind of know how to convey the fact that like what they're seeing is not up to par. They kind of know how to talk with the contestants to say like their best work is, and so when they are presenting things that kind of fall apart or just didn't come out quite the way they wanted to, they know. And the judges have been like I said, thoughtful in their criticisms of what's been put forth. So yeah. Then Tim and I also watched a movie that's one of my all-time favorites, the movie La Bamba, starring Lou Diamond Phillips. we both very much enjoy like music history, pop culture, all of that kind of stuff. So when I suggested, let's watch this movie, he was right on board with it. He likes watching, movies about famous people. So this was right up his alley. And we were just talking about like how tragic it was that he was so young, and just, yeah. And that kind of leads us up to why this video is going to be such a short one. I have some cool things that have been going on this week. I'm recording this a little bit earlier than I usually do in the week. Today, which is Wednesday for me, you're seeing this on Saturday. I was presenting at a conference, which is something that I'm really getting kind of excited to do. I like going out and doing presentations live and in person, a little bit similar to kind of what I do here, just talking into face-to-face spaces and talking to people about, just disability awareness. And this particular conference was called the Early Childhood Today Conference. So we were talking about just the importance of education and accessibility in education, particularly in like the early childhood space, so like preschool, kindergarten age groups. And I got to share my experience of like what school was like for me when I was young, and sharing like the importance of recognizing parents as the experts in their child. So it was very exciting to be in that space and sharing my perspective with educators that obviously really care, because they were at the conference ready to hear the message, and it was just a lot of fun. So I'm hoping to be able to do more of that kind of stuff, talking with parents, supporting parents that are kind of new to the disability space, new to parenting children with disabilities. So yeah, it was super cool. And even though like the lead up to everything was a little bit stressful, just because the nature of being live and in person and presenting is challenging, but I like the challenge. It's kind of like my own little version of skydiving. It's like, it's scary, you're kind of freaked out when you do it, but then after you're finished, you're like, oh, that was so much fun. So that's my little analogy for public speaking, is it's my own personal skydiving adventure. And then the other thing this week that I'll be doing is attending my younger brother's wedding. I'm super excited. Like, it's just gonna be so much fun. He's having a destination wedding in Las Vegas, so yeah, it'll be great to just see all and be a part of that. So yeah, like I said, this is a short week again. Like, I'm just, yeah, don't have a lot to share. Hopefully in the coming weeks I'll be back on my game and reading many more books at a time and doing all that. So if this is your first time here, go back and check some of the earlier episodes that are a little bit longer and more detailed and a lot more exciting. If you are enjoying my content, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to come back for more, don't be afraid to subscribe. And for those of you that have subscribed, thank you so much. Everybody is always so kind and so positive, and I appreciate you guys sharing your experiences and what's going on in your life. I feel like we're kind of building like a little friendship here, a little club, or I don't know, I guess, yeah, kind of like a book club and like just a little coffee clutch, I guess, I don't know. But I appreciate you guys always coming in and dropping a comment, clicking the like button. Be sure, please, to click that like button. It helps to get my video into the algorithm. So if you want to see the channel grow, please help by doing all of those human things that YouTube likes to see done. And until next week, I hope you have a great week this week and a great weekend, and I will be back next week with more adventures.